Drogba indirdi ceza. Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol!
Muslera! Fernando Muslera! Golün adı Muslera!
Sarıyoglu. Drogba! This is incredible!
Merhaba, and welcome to episode 39 of the Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast done by the community for the community. Straight out of New York, they call me Emre, and I'll be your host for today. Hope all of you are doing fine this evening. My ass is still decompressing from our last game, and I'm sure my comrades joining me today can attest to that. Coming from the same continent as me, Coach John from Canada. How is your ass feeling today?
Beautiful, as always. Thanks for asking. Happy to be back for another one. We're banging these out quick, like 2 a week now. Love it. And we
got to make up for lost time.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good to be back. We got the big one on Sunday. We got this last podcast and then the big one on Sunday. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hope everyone's excited for that as well.
Excited for the chaos that is about to ensue on us.
Chaos, yep. That's my favorite historian from Orange Land talking. Salih.
Yes.
How are you feeling after your New Year's celebration?
That's, now that I think of it, that's actually right. Yeah, I wasn't present there last time as I had too much, what was it again? Medicine, I think, according to Summit, right? Medicine.
Medicine.
Yeah, so wasn't a bit able to make it, unfortunately, but we're healthy. We made it through. I have all my fingers still, so doing fine. And on the footballing side, got another result. Wasn't pretty. We'll get onto that in a minute, but we won and that's all that matters. And we're back to being Galatasaray, basically. So
Galatasaray. where we belong. We're here. We're continuing our reign as leaders after a string of rough games. And this Sunday, we're going into arguably one of the hardest, I think, for this season in general. But before we even venture into that whole discussion, let's kick off with some of the things that we might have on the side. Any news or events or rumors you guys want to discuss about before we go into the Ankaragucu game? Any thoughts?
Salih, tell us about the famous VAR records that were released.
yes, so for the people who've been following Turkish football in general, so not necessarily Galatasaray on its own, but just the Super League, as you guys might have been aware, some VAR records have been released after heavy pressure from the fan base. And these two happen to be one on our match against Sivasspor and another on the Antep one. And man, there's so many thoughts I actually have about this. Like how bizarre it is that they released this out of the blue. How also they fell to pressure basically and just admitted that, yeah, maybe we should show it because we are not trustworthy enough. I mean, that's basically what they are saying by this. And then you guys listen to it too, right? Like how, what should I say? How unprofessional these guys are in the VAR room. Honestly, it sounds like a Turkish cafe or whatever. Like, I listened to the Beşiktaş one too, and okay, that was kind of weird too, but I think the ref was just like, what did he say? Abartıyor ya. Yeah, like he's exaggerating basically the damage that he took from a headbutt. I still think it was a red card, but oh well. That was normal. But the Galatasaray one, like, I don't even think they knew what they were doing. Like, John, like, you listened to it too, right? Like, what were your thoughts on it? Like,
it's like you said, they're so like nonchalant about it. Like they're so relaxed. Exactly what you said, pretty much. Like it wasn't professional. It's not what I expected. Like what I thought happened, in a conversation between the ref and the people in the VAR room was different than what we actually got. So I found that kind of funny. I was a little bit surprised by that. But I don't know. Like, do you think that it was necessary to release that? Like the TFFN, just refs in general, were under a ton of heat, a ton of fire for a few things that's happened in the last few weeks. So like, do you think it was a good idea for them to release that? Or do you think that just stirred the pot even more?
I think personally, because of just what I mentioned, like how clueless they looked, I think it stirred the pot actually a bit more. I don't think it really helped. I think the idea actually of like releasing this type of stuff, it's not bad. Like, I'm not against transparency. It's good that we know. And usually these things are protected by TFF. It's not done by us. We won't always see these. They just don't show it. Now they've shown it, but I'm so, like, what should I say? Disappointed, but also not surprised at the same time.
Yeah, I think people might think that, you know, the refs are even more incompetent than they originally thought. I think that might be the, you know, general reaction from a lot of people. And that's pretty much what I thought too. Like, I just didn't expect it. Like, they're just having like a chill conversation, basically. They're like, okay, we're looking. Okay, stop. Okay, go back, pull it back a little bit. Okay, Nelson's the first. Like, it's weird. It's, you know what I mean? It's like if you and I were like pausing the video and like talking about it ourselves. You know, I don't know why I thought it would be different, but.
And the thing is, they were discussing kind of like what the rules were between them too. But I'm thinking, I mean, you're the ones that are judging, right? You are the refs. You should know. You've been educated to know this stuff, but you still are hesitating. The other thing that really bothered me besides this is how, because it was kind of targeted towards, well, Beşiktaş and us, and we are currently the leader, so we are seen as a big threat. I do really dislike the fact that now some other teams, well, namely the top teams, think that we are always being helped, which is clearly not the case. Like, I want to stress this. I wouldn't say I'm delusional on this stuff. I think I'm pretty rational, but we had one situation, maybe two. I can name another one, like the Nelson one. I don't remember what game it was, like much earlier in the season, where, the opposition should have maybe had a pen. But this is like our second position where we ever have something in our favor, unjustly, of course. And then, well, this whole thing starts, and now we're called Shike Sarai and whatever. I'm like, I'm just, but I can't deal with it.
You know, for our listeners as well, I find it very amusing. You know, sometimes we get messages on social media, Reddit, Twitter, whatever it may be, and people are like, I can't believe that, you know, you think that there's no favoritism towards Galatasaray. Like, how could you possibly think that? But it's like, let's just look at the facts of the situation. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, we went like 9 or 10 games without VAR even being considered, when all the other teams, no questions asked, we'll go check the monitor, no problem, we'll check VAR, no problem. Like, where's the favoritism? Because we got one call, like one questionable call in our favor, you know? Like, it makes no sense. And now that these records and these conversations between the VAR team have been released, I'm at the point now where I honestly wouldn't be surprised if like in one of our matches, if VAR messes up a call, I wouldn't be surprised anymore, because I mean, look how they make the decision, right? So like in a carefree way, so nonchalant. So if they go to VAR and they make a really bad decision against us, I really wouldn't be surprised, you know?
This only incentivizes people to not go to VAR again, you know, because like, I don't want to be, you know, kept from my job. I don't want to get fired because the guy at VAR doesn't have any matches anymore. I think he's completely suspended, if I recall. Same with the ref of that game as well. It's like they're not getting any more matches. So now that gives other refs like, okay, I shouldn't give Galatasaray the time of day. I should just, you know, do whatever, because if I give them, because here's the thing, if they make mistakes towards us, they get, you know, commended. They don't get games taken away from them. TFF or Mehake comes out and says, you know, they can make mistakes, yada, 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 but they constantly make mistakes and they get away with it. We saw this day in and day out. They had to make an absurdly bad call, like the one against Sasha Bowie, where he got the most ridiculous red card I've ever seen.
Against Alanya, right?
And against Alanya, and that's what it took. Like, and you know what's crazy? These fans that come and tell us, oh, we're being favored, somehow are just blind to that, right? But they won't see all those times that we got screwed over, but they'll see the one time. You know, it's like the saying, do 99 good things, but the only thing people remember is that one time you messed up and you did something bad. That's what they'll remember.
And the thing is, right, this is, again, now to broaden the problem a bit, the ref problem in general is just a Turkish football problem. Yes, right now we are, I would say, maybe biased, of course, as a fan, but we're not really being favored. But the thing is, just like you mentioned, right? Let's say something scandalous happens to another team. What does, let's say, the majority of the fans do? They're not going to be like, oh, that shouldn't be allowed. They'll be like, oh, good for you. You got, I don't know, punished very heavily. We don't also, in a way, help each other out, right? Like, we get punished severely. Who's going to help us? It's just us. Like, no Beşiktaş fan or Fener fan would ever stick his head out for us. And also not the other way around. So I feel like this problem is just... It's...
And then Timur's trying to change that, though.
Yeah.
He's saying we want fairness for everybody. Release everyone's VAR records, And they're not doing that. And as far as I know, they're not going to do that.
That's at least a good thing I can say, that our position on it is pretty fair. I won't say we go... how should I put it? Like starting fights on Twitter with other football accounts or whatever. We're pretty on the moderate side.
We still do that, too, from time to time. But that's only if we're, like, instigated to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We can only expect so much from Turks, though. Come on. Like, when arguing on social media, that's, it's in our DNA. Come on.
It's a trap in itself. But yeah, so this got released, and now apparently messages have been come out that we won't release anymore, which, I mean, that's also really weird to me. Like, you just started,
ridiculous,
and now you gave us 2. Fair enough, weird calls, and now suddenly, we're not gonna ever share them again.
Yeah, that's why I think it was a bad move to do that in general. Like, I can kind of see what they were trying to do, but I don't, like, it didn't work out the way that they thought it would. And especially now that they're saying we're not doing that anymore, I don't know. It's
how convenient.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. They kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense. You're kind of like destroying your credibility.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing? Like, they didn't even have any credibility to like begin with. So I don't know. I think we can like venture on to other things because we can probably sit here and talk about this all day, especially with me. Okay. But I don't know. I'm kind of over this whole ref situation. They've always been trashed. They're going to continue being trashed as long as this TFF and MHK is run like this. I don't think anything will change. But yeah. So Coach John, you want to take us into our Ankaragucu game, which finished 2-1.
Yes, I do. So this was round 17 of the Super League. We were at home against Ankaragucu, like Emre just mentioned. It was a 2-1 victory. We'll jump through some stats and the starting 11 as well. I'll go through the starting 11 first. So we had Muslera in goal, Dubois starting in place of the suspended Sasha Boy, Victor Nelson, Abdul Kerim, Van Aanholt, Midtje, Berkan, Rashica, Mertens, Barış, and Gomis up front. Go through a couple stats here. 56% possession for Ankaragucu, 44% for Galatasaray. Shots were 13-8 in favor of Galatasaray. We had an XG of 1.75 compared to Ankaragucu's 1.28. And our highest rated player, according to SofaScore, was Berkan with an 8.1 rating. So that's good to see and interesting as well. So yeah, we'll jump into, I guess, our thoughts on the match. We had a bit of a surprise start, I thought. Within the first 10 minutes, there were some familiar faces that came back to haunt us. And it was a goal. It was a goal by Taylan, assisted by Emre Kılınç, and
of course.
I've never seen a more like typical thing, like and it's so crazy, Taylan, like, I don't know if you can consider this goal a bicycle kick, but it was some type of overhead kick. Like, I've never seen Taylan move in this way in my entire life. So I was just laughing to myself. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, how else are you supposed to react to that? So
the thing was, if I may interrupt, right?
Yeah.
I remember in the group, you send a message, and he tagged like Yasin, I think, on something Thailand bicycle kick. Or just Thailand, imagine Thailand did this. And I was just laughing at it, right? Because my stream's at the delay. I was like, what the fuck's he smoking? Like, what is Thailand going to do? And then as the moment I look at my TV, I see this dude. A failed bicycle kick, which somehow went in through the post. I was like, what the fuck? He
Yeah.
actually went in, right?
Yeah, I know.
Couldn't believe it.
Because I literally typed the most unlikely thing ever. I just put in the chat, Thailand scores a bicycle kick. It's like
And it literally
what-
happened.
Yeah, like I don't think anyone has even ever imagined that happening, but of course here we are. We find ourselves.
As it flew in, like the first thing, like I just looked up in this, like above, right, onto the sky, like it just had to be, right? Like
Yeah.
these two players, so useless. And
Yeah.
now suddenly they score against us. At least, if people were thinking about shady stuff, at least you can say, well, they scored against their own team. Like, what else could they do to Ankaragucu? But anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that point a little bit later. There's something I have to mention to that, but it'll fit in a little bit later. But anyways, like I was saying, we found ourselves down 1-0 in the first 10 minutes. I thought in the opening 15 minutes or so, I thought we were playing pretty well. Couple half chances, pace seemed to be on point, seemed to be controlling the match a little bit. They got this one chance and miraculously scored, so we were down 1-0. But just about 8 or so minutes later, we had Bodish equalize for us and made it 1-1. Beautiful ball in from the right. I believe it was Rashica who crossed it.
Yeah.
Beautiful ball in. Bodish scored the header, which also surprised me as well. I don't look at him as that type of player that can score in those positions, but he did really well to score it. And that made it 1-1. And then just about 15 minutes later, we had, of course, Gomes has to score. And this goal that he scored, first of all, came from what looked to be almost like an impossible pass from Mertens, who's probably been our best player in the last, 4 or 5 games.
Impeccable.
Really, honestly, impeccable. Just fantastic, man, in everything he does. He just made this, what looked to be an impossible pass through. Gomes brought the ball down and he kind of just turned. He had his back against the defender and kind of just turned and he was able to put it in the bottom corner. And again, I really have to say it again. I don't know where we would be without Bafetimbi Gomes. And I cannot believe I'm saying that, especially listen, when we brought him back last year, I think everyone could agree, we didn't expect much, maybe he'll score a goal here and there, but I don't know where we'd be this season without his heroics. It's unbelievable. And, we've seen it with our own eyes when we were in Istanbul. We went to 2 games and I could see Gomes looked like he was ready to be put in a wheelchair and say, that's enough from you. You had a good career. Thanks for coming out.
We were hoping, he had this clause, right, that he had to score 10 goals or whatever, otherwise it wouldn't be extended. We were kind of hoping, hopefully he won't reach that and it'll just be done. But man, this season.
Yeah. He's really putting us on his back, I have to say.
And no penalties, I think, right? He hasn't scored a penalty this season.
I mean, as far as I can remember, I think it's been all open goals, no?
Actually,
Yeah.
that's true. Last year he did have some decent
He had,
amount of
3 or
penalties.
4 penalties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This season it's all
But
just
this
him.
season it's nah.
Yeah.
That's because we don't get penalties. The guys that say that we're favored. Where's our penalties?
don't.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a certain other team that seems to be getting them every other time. They step into the box. So just
also outside
saying.
the box, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and that too. But no one likes to talk about that.
Yeah. But that pretty much brings us to halftime. It finished 2-1 at the end of the first half. What do you guys think? What, if anything, stood out to you at all that I didn't mention in the first half?
The first half, I just wanted to touch on one thing that's been bothering me this past couple of games. It has been yet again another stop ball, corner or free kick, what have you. We're always conceding from these free kicks. And it's not like we didn't have our main defenders. We did. We still had Gomes as well. He comes in and tries to help with the defense while we're conceding these corners. I don't know what's going on, John. I don't know. As a coach, what do you think is going on with this whole the situation of us constantly concede? Because we don't seem to concede from open play, which is absolutely fantastic. But we're constantly conceding from set pieces and stuff. What do you think is going on? I need an answer to this.
Yeah, what's interesting? I feel like that's been our weakness for a really long time, defending set pieces. And, on the other side of that, we haven't been able to score very many. And I think that's slowly improving, like us being able to score on set pieces. But in terms of defending them, I'm really not sure. It's just a mix of, I think, bad defending. I think in certain cases, positioning could improve a lot. I think in a lot of cases, corners could even be prevented. If you're in the right position to begin with, you can probably defend a player, better without conceding the corner, right? So I think it's a lot of little things that all combine that lead up to that. But definitely, in these big matches, like on Sunday especially, it would be a shame, honestly, if we were to concede on a corner. Like, these are the games you need to be locked in, laser focused.
Exactly.
Every little detail matters. If you're standing 2 inches to the left, that could be the difference between defending a corner and conceding it, right? So,
absolutely.
I think it's a lot of
and
little
things. The thing that stuck in my head is I don't remember having this issue before the World Cup, right? Because I'm like, we concede once in a while from, set pieces, but it wasn't like every single game that we played after the World Cup. We seem to concede one from a set piece of sorts. So that's my biggest issue and my biggest worry, because, some teams can just, overload you with corners and you just concede out of the bat.
Mm-hmm.
There's some teams in this league that are really good at it. Like you mentioned, Sunday, Fenerbahce is going to be their goals. A lot of them come from set pieces, right? So we got to be careful. And I hope Okan is like going towards something that fixes this issue. I mean, he fixed a lot of issues so far, but this is one issue in particular I really want to see.
Yeah.
But as for the first half, like that's basically what I wanted to say.
Maybe,
but like I'll leave more criticisms towards the second half if I remember.
If I could add anything, all I could say is Abdülkerim actually had a very big chance too, a header, which he completely fumbled. Unfortunately, it went wide, and also. And that's more question to you guys. Mertens, he got tackled sort of from behind in a penalty box, and the ref decided to not give a penalty, nor did he actually watch the position. But what were your guys' position on that? Because to me, even though maybe soft, it does kind of feel penalty-ish, if you know what I mean. It does get tackled from behind. Yes, of course, there was a position before where Dries Mertens just... basically dived right in front of the ref. He's lucky not to get a yellow card for that, when he tried to win the free kick. And afterwards, I guess maybe the ref just thought, probably not again. But what did you guys think on that? Because to me, it does feel kind of like a penalty.
I think it was I don't know. I think there possibly could have been something there. But I don't know, man. Honestly, I choose now to just not stress myself out about it. I would go back and watch it 40,000 times and get so pissed off that it wasn't a penalty, and then go on Twitter and start saying all this craziness. But I don't know, man. The ref didn't give it at the end of the day, and I don't know. It is what it is, man. Like I said, these refs, I'm losing confidence day by day, and especially with the videos and the audio that was released. I don't know. I'm not sure, man. There
day
might have
by
been something
day,
there.
You haven't lost confidence yet, bro. I have zero confidence in these guys. Zero.
I got that patience,
Losing
man.
confidence. You're a saint. You're a saint. And for me, bro, I wouldn't give a penalty for that. Hell no, bro. It's first of all, he's going away from the keeper, from the goal. He's no angle to shoot, right? But the thing is, in this league, I've seen penalties just like that for even dumber situations.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So I'm stuck in a loop of, if it's this, then this should be a pen. But this is a stupid pen, so this shouldn't be a pen. And it's just a never-ending cascade of
that is true though. Yeah.
Logic, right? It's this is why I prefer it has to be a really, really clear opportunity for a guy to not be able to shoot, for it to be a pen for me personally. Because every little push or nudge should not be a penalty.
Yeah,
That's just my...
Which is fair. I do get your point. The way I also like to look at pen situations, even though I still think, might have been a pen. If it was the other way around, if an Ankaragucu player, I don't know, Aliso or whatever, ran into the box
exactly.
and we tackled him like that and they gave a pen, would we be pissed? Probably as well. There was no opportunity for him. So, fair point. What else can I add about the first half? Not much. Maybe Van Aanholt just ruining an offside trap for the first goal. You could say that, but
Not surprising.
besides that, I think first half, generally speaking, still went pretty well. Like,
We weren't up to par, to be quite frank. We weren't like our usual selves, but I guess that could be attested to us missing like
Yeah,
5
for
players or
sure.
such.
For
yes.
sure.
Right? So I can't really blame the team just yet.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
you know, we went into
Yeah.
the second half. Like I said, we were winning 2-1, but you know, I really have to admit, I didn't feel comfortable whatsoever in this second half for a lot of different reasons. One, Ankaragucu really, you know, it felt like they were going to score. That's the first reason. The second thing, I think everyone was praying to whoever you pray to, whoever it is you pray to, that Abdul Karim and Mertens did not see a yellow card. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I thought for sure one of them was gonna get booked. I cannot believe they made it out of that. So the combination of these two things made I thought a really unsettling second half. And you know, we didn't really play well to begin with. I mean, in the second half, I mean, right out of the gates, the tempo dropped a little bit. We seemed a little bit more reserved. Like, you know, I don't want to say, not to say that we were comfortable with the 2-1 lead. Like, there were
Not at all.
definitely moments in the second half where we were trying to push to get the third. But just overall, when you look at those last 45 minutes, I don't think it was comfortable for anyone. And not to mention, there were some subs that I thought came really late as well. But what did you guys think overall of the second half?
this was probably my most stressful game to date. Thinking about it, like I opened up the pod was saying my butt's still decompressing. It's still decompressing. Like dude, I was so stressed. I couldn't like focus at that point. Like always thinking of like, what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? What if we can see? You
Yeah.
know, what if Abdülkerim gets yellow? Who plays on Sunday? You know, it's just like, oh, dude. But I'm just glad at the end they didn't see a yellow card, because I think Mertens and Abdülkerim is, I think, by far two of the most crucial players to this team.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because you don't really have a replacement for Mertens, and you don't, like, I guess you do have a replacement for Abdülkerim, but I don't trust him as much as I trust Abdülkerim,
Yeah,
right?
sorry, Samet.
And you know what? So in the 70th minute, right? Okan made his first sub. Gomes came out and Kerem came in. At that moment,
Who's also on a yellow.
exactly. At that moment, we have 3 key players on the pitch who are at risk of suspension, right? So that makes you clench even a little bit harder. Even though, you know, even if I think Kerem, if he got booked, we have, like, Bodish is, I don't know, he's kind of in good form right now. So I don't think that'd be the end of the world, but still, we had 3 players at risk of suspension. So that's a little bit nervy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
no, I was just gonna say, there was another moment as well where I thought for sure Thailand was gonna get his second against us, and it just didn't work out. They played a ball through. It was a little bit. His body was sort of in a weird angle, and it didn't end up happening. I can't remember if it was.
It was
blocked.
a handball.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Regardless, he ended up missing. I can't remember if it was blocked or saved by Muslera.
It was blocked.
It was a
It
handball.
was blocked
anyway.
by Nelson.
Yeah. So I thought for sure, as soon as they played him in, I was like, oh my God, here we go. But it didn't work out. And then I think it was shortly after that, you know, maybe one of the biggest, probably the biggest moment of the match, which people are still talking about, was a missed chance by Emre Kılınç with pretty much, you know, I would say a fully open goal.
My man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the ball came across. Muslera was pretty much in no man's land, and I don't know, man. I'm still not sure how he missed, but he did. And you know, that.
He missed shots like that before. It's not new.
No,
I think
that's
when we
not
were
new.
playing for the champions,
Yeah.
the year we lost by 1 goal, I think he missed a super simple goal like that as well. I can't remember what game it was,
Yeah. Like,
but we were flaming him for a week or two.
you know, when you watch it back, I mean, again, I think it's harder to miss than it is to score. But I think it's just one of those moments where the ball came across so fast, and either his footing wasn't right or something like that, and he just got up at the wrong angle and just directed it wide, right? But I don't know. I don't think because right now the fans of other teams are just having a field day, saying this is expected and he missed on purpose and all of this shit. But I mean,
then why did they score the first goal?
Exactly. I mean, he assisted Thailand. Thailand did a bicycle kick, celebrated for like 2 seconds afterwards, and Thailand was still coming for blood after that. Like, Thailand wanted to score a hat trick in this game, So I don't know how much merit there is to that argument. It's a little bit silly. I think when you watch it, it's easy to say that, but if you think about a few other things, then it's not really that crazy. I mean, he's on loan for a reason anyways, right? So I think that was probably the biggest moment of the second half. But what do you guys think about that?
About the miss in general?
Yeah.
Like I said, I expect it from him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be, in Ankaragucu, and he'd still be playing for us. That's all I got to say about it. These things happen. We could probably mention a bunch of other teams who played, former players that did just as, shady things like that. So I don't really care what they have to say, to be quite frank.
It's just, I guess just like Emre mentioned before, he's loaned for a reason. Of course, this is not the only reason, but I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, right before that moment, I just can't, imagine the ball just already going in, but somehow it just fucking went wide. Of course, I'm happy for it, but what can I say? I mean, it made us still win the game. We due to that, and of course, we had our missed chances too. I mean, we had Barış Alper after that as well when we went 3-on-2 or whatever. But these things happened. You can't always score. It's still miraculous that he missed that, but of course,
yeah. I mean, it's another thing about it as well that it's sort of related to it. When you look at our last few games, I think they all have finished 2-1. I think the last 4 games or something has finished 2-1, right? And that in itself is a problem, especially against teams that are in relegation. The games have just been way too close, man. Even if you give Emre that goal, okay, even if he scores it, I mean, I feel like at that point, at that stage in the match, we should already be up minimum 2 goals. We're playing at home. The stakes are just so huge, man. You need to have 3 points. We want to go into this Fenerbahce match being leaders. And it's we're clenching every single game. And,
that is true.
I don't know. I don't know. Can you guys say with confidence that we've been playing well? Can you say that we've been playing good football? Or, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this game in particular is the first time I can actually with confidence say this is our worst match. One of the worst matches for being at home, right? And the previous games, we would have higher XGs. We'd have a ton of, shots missed. And, we can still say, at least we got into positions, right? We didn't get into many positions this game. And for some reason, we just start breaking down after the second half, especially after the 60th minute. I don't know what's going on. This has been a theme ever since we came back from the World Cup. I guess it could be the form demographic of our players is just not ready to handle really intense games. Whereas these teams are probably coming for blood, bro. The teams we're playing are on the bottom half of the table. They're going at it with everything they got.
Yeah, and
so I think that could be part of that.
And I mean, so we played Istanbulspor at home on December 25th, right?
That was very dominant, right? The first half,
Yeah, and it's that was the first game back after how many weeks off. So the match finished 2-1. Okay, 1-goal game. Probably could have been a higher scoreline, but okay, fine. It was a 1-goal game. Then the game after that, we were away to Sivas. Doesn't matter where they are in the table. That's going to be a tough match. We won 2-1. Okay, 1-goal game again. And then you have this game as well. You would think that maybe the third game in after the break, we have a little more confidence. We're a little more comfortable. And I don't know. I feel like even if we have some suspensions or injured players, whatever the case may be, I feel like we could be putting in better performances, honestly. But, in true Galatasaray fashion, I'm sure on Sunday we're going to play the big game and play well. And,
hopefully
against these teams that are in 16th place, it's a 2-1 game, right? So I wanted to...
Honestly,
go ahead, sorry.
Can you just say, I can't say Ankaragucu played bad. I think they played extremely well. I think their form is rising quickly. I was really impressed with how they played, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the half really benefited them. So that could also be. I know they're in the bottom half of the leaderboard, but again, these teams are trying. They're trying not to relegate, so they're gonna put everything on the line.
For sure.
That's why I prefer playing these teams early on in the season rather than later on in the
Because then
season.
they have to fight for their life, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the issue.
I wanted to ask, it's almost becoming a tradition for us now every episode to ask what we thought about Okan's subs in terms of, when they came in the match and who was subbed and things like that. We played there was one match, I can't remember which one. I think it was the Sivas match, I think, where he made bad subs. Or I can't remember which match it was, but anyways, we go back and forth. One match we argue. Yeah, like one match we argue the subs were horrible. It almost lost us the game. The next match we say, oh my God, Okan Buruk, he learned and he fixed it. And then now we're in this game. And I think, I don't know, man, it was pretty questionable, I think. So let me go through the subs. I'll give one or two thoughts about it. You guys can say what you think as well. So like I mentioned, we had the first sub in the 70th minute. It was Kerem coming in for Gomis. In the 83rd minute, we had a double change. Rashica came off for Yunus and Mertens came off for Yusuf. And then in stoppage time, we had Barış come off for Baran and Mitcho come off for Seferovic. So we had 4 subs from the 83rd minute onwards into stoppage time. So, I'm just going to give my thoughts on it. I think that, we pretty much in a sense got outplayed in this second half. Like Ankaragucu were pressing us at, in waves. They would have 3 to 4 minute periods where they were really pressing us. They had possession, looks like they wanted to attack. We would get the ball back for maybe 1 or 2 minutes and try to do something on our end, right? So they were attacking us in waves. And I think that really, started to break us down. And I saw a lot of tired legs. And the subs didn't come until the 83rd minute, especially Mertens and Abdul Kerim. Like Abdul Kerim, I understand a little more because it's a 1-goal game. But man, he almost waited till the 90th minute to take Mertens off when I really don't know if that was necessary. Like that's so risky. So I don't know what this infatuation is that Okan has with making these late subs. He loves making subs in like past the 80th minute. And honestly, I'm not a fan of that. And he's a fan of making like 4 changes at once or like triple changes, which I said in the last episode as well is so dangerous sometimes. It can just ruin your flow and momentum, right? So
yeah.
What do you guys think of just like the actual subs he made and, the timeliness of it?
Well, the Kerem one already was mentioned before. I think that was risky too. He's on basically 1 yellow card away from suspension against Fener. Okay, yes, you might say that Barış is a better player, whatever, but still, you want to have him available. Like, there's no reason to necessarily put him in right away. And for Gomis too, which is like our target man, basically up front. Like you put just a pacey winger for a target man. Oh well, you do that. Yunus, honestly, I didn't really have a problem with that. I think that was actually a fine sub. We haven't seen him in a long time, and to be fair, I don't think his performance was that bad either. It was pretty alright. But on the Mertens part too, like not only given his card suspension, his age, just like you mentioned before, tired legs, I would have loved to seen him be subbed off earlier too, because he's so crucial. Like for someone at his age still, he puts in a lot of work. He's like everywhere, and basically risking him to miss that game, I think was a really bad call. Now the 90 plus 4, 90 plus 5 subs, I guess that's just to waste some time. I don't really know why else you would do those anyway. But then I would also wonder, like, who else would we have brought on and at what time then? Like, Emre, what would you think on that? And your thoughts, of course.
Well, before I answer that question, I have a different little outlook on this situation. Cue the suspense music, Summit always plays. What if Okan Buruk didn't play them and then we did lose? Then people would say, oh, are you afraid of Fenerbahce or losing players for Fenerbahce that you sacrificed this game? But what if, let's say, Okan Buruk purposely played them just to get into Fenerbahce's mind. Be like, I don't need Mertens. I don't need Abdülkerim. I'll beat you without them if they get a yellow card or not. Kerem, I'll throw him in too. You think I care? I don't care. Maybe he did that just on purpose to get into their heads.
4D chess move. Right
Big
there.
balls,
4D,
Buruk.
big brain, alpha male, sigma male moves right there. What, did you guys ever think of that?
I don't know, man. Big balls, Buruk. I don't know if that's a thing, but I don't.
Big balls for a short guy. That's for sure.
Like, I think I would have started Mertens, but the only other change, like, to start the match I would have made is I wouldn't have started Abdülkerim. I would have just started Emin. Like, Emin Bayram, I don't think he's at Abdülkerim's level, but I mean, I trust him a decent amount, especially in a match like this at home. I don't know. I think it would have worked out, but there's two sides to the coin, man. Like, you start all these guys and it works, or you start all these guys and it's a disaster, and now you don't have three key players against Fenerbahce, this is going to be the biggest match of the season probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could go either way. Just thank God it worked out. So, having those big balls worked out this time for Buruk. So
I guess he used his big balls in some parts of his brain too, because like we mentioned before, we were already missing some key players like Sergio, Torreira, a normal left back, just anything besides Van Aanholt, right? Like, you had to have some players who were regulars. And with that, I think Abdülkerim was, in my opinion, fine. Him staying, I can understand, just like you mentioned before, we weren't dominating them. The second half, we were just being outplayed. I mean, you already mentioned the possession part, but what was it again, like 44%? That's kind of low.
right.
So that I can live with. It's just the first one you mentioned, or actually the first two. The Kerem one bringing in, I find really unnecessary and very risky. And bring out Mertens this late. Look, gladly it worked out, of course, but still. I get where Emre's coming from too.
Yeah, like I said, there's two
mental
sides
game,
to the coin.
but-
There's two sides to it. Thankfully it worked out. But
Look, in the end, we won. They're not suspended, so we can all praise whoever you're praising, but could have gone a very different way.
I mean, look at the two players that he did keep on. Mertens, he's a smart guy. He doesn't make
Yeah.
unnecessary fouls, right?
Yeah.
He plays smart. He uses his brain. Same with Abdülkerim. He didn't take any chances. If it's a bad tackle, he said, I'm not going to take. I'd rather go out in a corner or a
Yeah.
potential shot, Maybe that's why Ankaragucu came at us so frequently, because we didn't really risk those challenges as often.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I have to praise both Mertens and Abdülkerim for the way that they played. Like, they didn't sacrifice, their performance or the quality of their performance whatsoever. While being careful, while trying to avoid the booking, they still played perfectly. And Mertens, I don't know what else to say about him. Like, he's just phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
So what do you Yeah, go.
I was just before we go into the next thing, who else was phenomenal? Our man of the match, Berkan,
Melo.
or we should call him Berko.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask what you guys
Oh.
think about our highest rated player, Berkan. Surprise, surprise.
Oh man, if Yasin was here.
I know.
I was about to say that. I swear to God. If only
Wow,
he was
I'm
here.
just I can think what you guys are gonna say before you guys say it.
Tell us.
Connect-
Tell
Wow.
us.
The connection. I mean, what is there to
The
say?
chemistry.
He just took the opportunity very well. That's all I can say. He was everywhere. He stole every ball that there was. He won his duels. Of course, he still had, unfortunately, but very minor, but like one Berkan moment, right? I think the end of the first half. He had a beautiful shot. I almost thought it went in, but again,
Yeah.
of course, knowing it's him, unfortunately, it went wide. But yeah, what can I say? Like, what I can actually say besides his performance is it's good that he performed this way. Like, giving, again, himself some confidence and knowing that we do have, a good
A viable
substitute. Yeah,
player.
viable substitute on the bench. Because him, compared to Mitchell, I think Mitchell was a lot more, I didn't really realize he even played the first half, to be really honest. I don't think
He wasn't great.
he wasn't as active, right? Meanwhile, Bergkamp, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
He man just can't get tired. And he played the entire match too without getting a booking, nothing. That's really impressive in my opinion.
When you think about this, like for the list of players that we have that can play in that position, right? So in my order, at least, we have Torreira, Sergio, Mitcho, and Berkan, right? Berkan would be the last on that list. And that doesn't mean he's bad, right? So we have really good options there, I find. Like today, what would typically be Sergio and Torreira was Mitcho and Berkan. And I thought it worked out. I thought it worked out, right? So we have good quality there. And I'm happy for Berkan. Obviously he wants to be a starter. He mentioned as well, I think it was before the season or at the end of last season, how hard he's working for that spot as well. And you can see that in the way that he plays. Like he takes chances. Like he shoots from outside the box now. He looks more forward.
He's more confident.
Yeah, definitely. And in true Berkan fashion, running 40,000 kilometers a match, like ridiculous, whatever it is, whatever numbers he pulls. But yeah, I thought he played well. He deserved that performance. And it's comforting knowing even if things go really bad, at least Berkan isn't horrible. He's tolerable and he can put in good performances still, right?
Yeah.
I love how at first it was about, he did good, and at least he isn't horrible.
Yeah.
He's passable.
He's tolerable.
Yeah,
tolerable.
bro. I mean, but if you look at it on paper, right? It's like how many people look at that list of midfielders and will just shit on Berkan?
Yeah, of course. Now I get what you mean.
Pretty much everyone I know just shits on Berkan, except for maybe two or three, maybe two people, right?
Yasin.
Yeah. So he's not really bad. When the time comes, he can play. He can put in a shift. He can put in a performance, right? I'm not saying he's going to be the man of the match every time, but I think he's usable. And if you look at, you compare him with Emre, Kılınç, and Taylan, I'd pick Berkan. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that just goes to show the other two are playing for Ankaragucu. He's still here, right? So he definitely still offers us something,
Absolutely.
So,
what I just really like about Berkan in general are just two things. One, okay, this season, of course, we don't use him as much, but the man is never injured. He's always available whenever you need him.
Right.
Second thing, bro, just, I don't know, tell him to jump off a bridge, he'll do it. Bro, this guy just, he works really, really hard. Of course, he may not have the best qualities, but he does have two very crucial ones, in my opinion. Those are useful ones. For example, if you compare it to another player, not on our team, I'll just compare it to Del Alli. Very, very different example, but he's a talented guy, but he's known to be lazy. What use do you then get out of him?
Right,
if you can't really put in the work.
And imagine country he came to, being a lazy player and coming to Turkey. That's crazy.
He found the right place, you could say. Yeah. So I can only respect that. And the handy part is as well, he's Turkish. So we do kind of really need him.
Yeah.
In situations like these, because how many Turks did we have on the field? I think, again, only 3, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think so, actually. Yeah, only 3.
Yeah, Abdülkerim,
Barış,
and Berkan.
Yeah, so just, happy for him. That's all I can say. Hope it continues. Hope it it won't fall down. And,
So at the other end of the spectrum now, let's talk about our worst player, which I'm just going to assume we can all agree, Patrick Van Aanholt. I really don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's some type of mental issue he's having. He's just so bad, man. He's just terrible. He can't do anything. He's always out of position. He offers very little for us going forward. I don't know what it is. I mean, last season he put in so many good performances, and he's fallen off so hard this season, man. I'm just at the point now where I can't wait until he's gone. And hopefully that's soon. But you know, it sucks to see that he's fallen off that hard. But what do you guys think? Is it a mental thing? Is his time just done? What is it?
His time is definitely done. He's like in his 30s. Dude, as someone that like constantly relied on his physicality, like he doesn't have any vision. His crosses are terrible. But like what set him apart from most players is defensively he was solid and he was always available.
Mhm.
And he was quick, That's what we really relied, because this isn't new. Like his performance this year, it's like, oh, Van Aanholt cannot cross, he cannot, finish a cross or set.
But that was the same last year, right? So
Yeah, that was the same last year. But what set him apart was how like he was able to control his side of the pitch.
Yes.
I was never in any like, state of worry when he was playing on that left wing. I'm like, okay, that's gonna be fine.
agree.
He's gonna handle his man, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Like the Barca game, right? He was fantastic. He did very well. But now it's like he just completely fell off. I don't know. What do you think as his Dutch companion?
That's a very good question, because that's something I wonder too. For our most loyal listeners, so to say, we had a tier list. I know we're not very proud of it, but I put Van Aanholt pretty high up. I think I had him like B or A. I think even A tier, because just
It was B.
just like Emre has mentioned before, he was always available. Defensively is solid. Of course, going forward, he wasn't the best, at least for the crossing part. He's quick and such, but just the final delivery wasn't there. And this season, like even defensively, he seems kind of lost. I don't know where that just came from. Is it due to his partner? Because Marcao maybe like covered his weaknesses, whereby we just didn't see it. Maybe that was the case. I truly don't know. And about the time that he has left, the only reason I would say that his time is up is just because he's a foreigner. And well, we only have a certain amount of spots, so it's kind of a high value position.
And
to have.
his spot right now, like that position is it's highly sought after for a Turkish player for our team. Like we have Abdul Kerim, that's 100%. We're going to have a Turkish winger, that's 100%, either Kerim or Barish. And we don't really have any other room on the pitch for one except for left back, right? So yeah, I think the clock is ticking on Van Aanholt.
So yeah, well, what else can I say? It's just, I mean, since he's still here, of course, I hope he somehow picks it up. But this season he has been really uninspiring, and it's just wasteful. It feels, I don't know, you lose the ball just way too often. I feel like it's not very handy to have in defense. That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
I'll thank him for the, of course, sorry to cut you off. I'll thank him for the great pictures he took, of course, at the beach, beach touch and such. But yeah. Unfortunately, it's done now. I think it's done.
I think if you guys maybe want to move on to the Derby predictions, if no one has anything left to add for the match.
Well,
I think we talked about most of the stuff.
So let me say, just before we give our predictions, let me say this. We're going into this match away from home. We're 1 point ahead of Fenerbahce in first place. Fener are in second place. We're the number 1 ranked team away from home this season. Fenerbahce are number 1 ranked in goals scored. So I think this is going to be a really interesting match, especially if we're at full strength, which I think we will be. I think Okan, a lot of people are saying that they think Gomis is going to start. I honestly wouldn't be surprised with you if Icardi started this match. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think Fenerbahce, I honestly think they're expecting Gomis to start the match. But I think Okan Buruk might pull a fast one. So we'll see what happens. But I know Emre is not giving his prediction, and it's working miracles. It is working miracles. So we are
2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
We are not changing that. I could tell you that right now. So Emre, I won't ask you, but Salih, what's your prediction for the Derby?
always very hard and interesting to do these. But having said all of that, I think I thought a long time, and of course you guys can't see me from the listening from podcast. I was just looking up. I think it'll be a draw. I'm telling you. I just
Wow, he goes with the safe answer.
no, not safe. I mean, I go for the safe answer just because we're neck and neck. I think that's how the game will be dictated. I think both sides will kind of be, even though I think Fener are a bit more on the cocky side, so to say. I think both sides will just try not to really lose, because whoever loses the leader spot again. And we play away. It's just a draw, but what will it be? I think you know what, the shocker. I think a 0-0, just a draw. A lot of drama.
Really, the teams that scored the most goals in the league, 0-0.
But hey, we defend the best, so
I can see it. I can see it, Salih. I can see it. Bro, these games are always so close, man. They're always so freaking close. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just was like, my prediction's a bit, I should say, a bit tinfoily hairish. Like, it's a bit conspiracy type, because look, most derbies ended in a draw, right? Some red card to this or that team, but always like in a draw. Then we had the period that we suddenly started winning at their home twice in a row. Also the period where we started to not win the Super League anymore, so new curse, I guess. And then last year we had, under our wonderful administration with Burak Elmas, we lost twice from them. One I wouldn't say was really that fair, but okay. So I think we're back to square. Just a 0-0 classic.
Yeah, they can keep beating us for all I care. As long as we're champions, by all means, have another 20-year curse. I literally could not care less.
They've made it clear that's all they care about. Like, they only care about beating us. They're clearly not interested in winning any trophies. Like, that's not on their to-do list. I can tell you that right now. They're
winning against us is a trophy.
Exactly.
In their brain.
Exactly.
Seems like.
Exactly. So it is what it is. But, you know, for my prediction, I would have to go with what's become muscle memory to us now, which is a 2-1 win. You know? It's just muscle memory at this point. We have to win 2-1. That's what it is, right? So I think we're gonna win 2-1. Look, I don't want to give any type of jinx, but I've been saying this for a while now. I really don't think Fenerbahce are a good team. I don't. I think their backline and the way they defend as a team is fucking horrendous. I don't know how else to put it. And you can see in some of their results as well, like some of the goals that they concede and the amount of goals that they concede. I just don't think they're a good team, and I don't think Jorge Jesus is a good coach either. And I think that we're going to get 3 points here. I really do. So if they can prove me wrong, then congratulations. There's your trophy for the season. You won't be getting any more. But yeah, that's my prediction. So we'll see what happens. I'm so excited, man. Like, this is the first time in a while where there's some genuine hype around this. You know,
because
just
we're neck and neck. That usually doesn't happen when
it's just so close. It's
been
so
a while.
close.
It's been a while.
It has been. So, and look, there's nothing like the hype in this match, this derby between these two teams, the age-old rivalry. It's the best thing about football in Turkey. So I hope everyone enjoys it. I hope we enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Any last closing remarks from you guys?
I'm like, one thing I'm concerned about for this game that's coming up is the ref, because of how much pressure that's been put on from, you know, both sides actually, but more so that from Fenerbahce. I'm hoping that this will be a fair game. No foolish semantics. No, you know, yalakalık. Oh, I gave the wrong, you know, yellow card here, so I'm going to give this a yellow card to this person. None of that. No, give what you see and only what you see and what's fair. Okay? Don't I hate this. Like I want to talk about the game, not the referee. You know, I want to say, yeah, we deserve to lose that game, or we deserve to win that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's my biggest issue, or my biggest concern so far. And you know, Salih, the thing about what you said was, it's always been ties in history. I think that's because of the refs. They're like, oh, I don't want to,
Oh.
get flamed
for
by
sure.
Galatasaray. I don't
Yeah.
want to get flamed by Fenerbahce. So I'm just gonna keep it 0-0. So that's why you probably see a lot of
Yeah, like
draws in history.
Like one ref that comes to my mind, like Junaid Chakır, bro. He would always like try to go for a draw, basically.
Biggest AMJ.
Yeah, it was like what should I say? Not fun, basically. Of course, you don't want to lose, but like, come on, like they're literally going for the draw. Anyway, on the ref part, it is indeed going to be interesting, because well, from our side, well, the fan base feels like we've been treated fairly or favorably, but also the few times I've watched Fenerbahce play, like a few occasional times, they do press a lot. So I wonder how their press will work against a team that is good in this case, and how many fouls they'll commit to that. Because I feel like I think their forwards and such can also be booked pretty easily because they start their press very early on. So we'll see about that. It's going to be very interesting. Looking forward to it.
I wonder how many red cards will be at this game. might be a record with both teams and how they press.
It's possible.
You're right. So I'm nervous, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
Yet again,
let's compress
for
that
this
air
Sunday.
again. No decompressing. We're just going to compress stuff again.
Yeah. Yep. Well, with that said, I think we came to the end of our podcast, boys. And so we'd like to thank everyone that stood with us till now. You guys are awesome. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions for us, you can reach us at The Lions Den GS on Instagram and Twitter. Take care of yourselves and stay hopeful. Peace out.
Peace.
Bye bye.